Most people think the most expensive thing on Earth is gold, or maybe diamonds, or perhaps some rare isotope like californium-252 used in nuclear medicine. But if you walk into the dark, unindexed corners of the web, the places where logic meets the black market, you'll find a substance that makes gold look like pocket change. We aren't talking about rare metals or precious gems. We are talking about LSD. Specifically, LSD in its pure crystalline form. To the layperson, a gram is a tiny amount of powder, barely enough to fill a salt shaker. But in the underground economy, that single gram is a digital fortress of value worth over $100,000. This is the no-fluff reality of the modern forbidden market. It isn't a game of muscle anymore. It's a game of chemistry, logistics, and high-level encryption. Why is this the most expensive substance? Because unlike cocaine or heroin, where you measure success in kilos and heavy shipments, the economy of synthetics is measured in a single gram of pure crystal contains 10,000 individual doses at $10 a hit. That's a $100,000 return on investment on a piece of dust. This is microdosage economics. If the technical reality of how these shadow empires operate, how they leverage the stack to move value across borders without a single physical footprint, is something that fascinates you, then you're starting to see the world like you're realizing that everything, including the illicit world, is just a series of protocols waiting to be exploited. The shift from organic drugs to synthetics is exactly like the shift from physical hardware to cloud computing. In the old days, if you wanted to be a kingpin, you needed land. You needed thousands of hectares of cocoa or poppy fields. You needed an army to protect the soil and a massive, bloated logistics chain to move tons of low-potency product. It was inefficient. It was heavy. It left a massive thermal and physical signature for satellites and the D2 track. But the modern route-level traffickers realized they could refactor the entire industry. They switched to synthetics like LSD and fentanyl. This is the substance as a service model. Why manage a field when you can manage a lab? Take fentanyl, for example. It is the most cynical evolution of the drug trade. It is so potent that a few pounds of it can supply an entire city for a month. This changed the logistics game overnight. Traffickers no longer need to hide a truckload of product. They only need to hide a padded envelope. They don't even need to produce the final product. They buy the precursors, the chemical building blocks from legitimate industrial labs in China or India, and then they compile the final drug at the destination. It is the ultimate form of just-in-time manufacturing. They've eliminated the most dangerous part of the supply chain by moving the chemistry closer to the consumer. If you're a developer, you recognize this immediately. It's moving the logic to the edge. But the real alpha of the high-value market remains LSD. It represents the highest barrier to entry in the entire shadow economy. You can teach a street thug to press fentanyl pills in a basement. You cannot teach them to synthesize LSD. That requires a chemist with PhD-level organic chemistry knowledge and a laboratory that costs $500,000 to equip. This creates a natural zero-day monopoly. Because the production is so difficult, the few people who can do it effectively control the global supply. They don't live in the slums. They live in quiet suburbs, working in sterile environments, moving their product through the postal service inside regular letters. They are the elite engineers of the black market. They don't use guns. They use gas chromatographs and liquid chromatography. The cynicism of this world is that it is powered by the same tools we use to build the legal web. The dark web isn't some mystical layer of the internet. It's just an overlay network using the Tor protocol to provide anonymity through onion routing. It's a series of encrypted nodes that make it impossible to trace the origin of a request. For the traffickers, the dark web is their user interface. They list their products with the same care as an Amazon seller. They have customer reviews, verified seller badges, and escrow systems to ensure the buyer doesn't get scammed. They have solved the problem of trust in a world of criminals by using code. They've replaced the meeting in a dark alley with a multi-sig Bitcoin transaction. This brings us to the financial layer the money laundering algorithm. If you move $100,000 worth of LSD crystal, you still have the problem of the exit ramp. You have a pile of Bitcoin that the IRS or the FBI can trace through the blockchain. The modern trafficker uses mixers or tumblers, services that break the coins into thousands of tiny fragments and mix them with other people's coins before sending them back. It's a digital washing machine that breaks the chain of custody. More advanced players use a privacy-focused cryptocurrency that uses ring signatures and stealth addresses to make the sender, receiver, and amount completely invisible. As a realist, you have to admit, the technical sophistication of these systems is often years ahead of the regulators trying to stop them. We are living in an era of micro-dosage economics. The most valuable substances are the ones that are the hardest to detect and the easiest to distribute via data-driven logistics. The war on drugs is essentially a battle between two different architectures. One is a legacy, centralized system of governments and physical borders. The other is a decentralized, encrypted, and highly efficient network of independent nodes. The legacy system is trying to use 20th century tools walls and dugs to stop a 21st century problem encryption and chemistry. It's like trying to stop a DDoS attack with a physical padlock. The data is brutal. For every site the FBI shuts down, 3 more appear within 48 hours. The market has refactored itself to be anti-fragile. This is the core lesson for anyone in the tech space. Decentralized systems with Hivalia, low-weight products are almost impossible to kill. If you want to understand how the world actually works, beyond the headlines and the government press releases, you have to look at these edge cases. You have to understand how a gram of crystal can be worth more than a house. You have to understand how a piece of code can hide a billion-dollar empire. To analyze these patterns, to research these protocols, or to even begin to understand the technical depth of this shadow economy, you need more than just curiosity. You need tools. If you're trying to process data, run simulations, or code your own secure systems on a consumer-grade laptop that chokes every time you open a terminal, you are losing before you start. Technical sovereignty starts with the hardware. IV put a link in the description to a curated kit for building a high-performance PC, the kind of rig that has the overhead for real technical work, not just rendering distractions. Don't let your gear be the bottleneck for your knowledge. If you find yourself more interested in the how than the what, if you re-looking at the supply chain and seeing a series of logic gates, then you have the right mindset for this industry. But the world doesn't need more spectators. It needs people who can build, secure, and defend. The skills used to run these shadow empires are the exact same skills used to protect the world's most sensitive data. The only difference is the intent. The technical world is a meritocracy of logic. The compiler doesn't care about your morals. It only cares if your syntax is correct. Stop being a passenger in the digital age. The world is built on code, and the people who understand the code are the ones who define the boundaries of reality. If you want to move from being processed to being a processor, you need to master the stack. You need to understand how information travels and how it's hidden. You need to understand why a gram of crystal is worth $100,000 while your time is being sold for $20 an hour. Stay cynical about the unbreakable claims of big tech. Stay curious about the protocols that run the world. And most importantly, stay sharp. Build your own floor, own your gear, and do you until let a kill switch. You do you until understand. Be the thing that ends your autonomy. The truth isn't out there. It's in the packets, and it's encrypted. Go find the key. In the digital age, knowledge isn't just power, it's survival. The great human lab is always looking for its next perfect product. And as long as you depend on their systems and their rules, that's exactly what you'll be. Break the dependency. Master the machine. One final thought. The most expensive substance on Earth isn't actually LSD or fentanyl, it's your time. The lab owners want to spend it on distractions. The scorekeepers want to spend it on debt. Your job is to reclaim it using the only leverage that matters in 2024. Technical mastery. If you're using a machine that's too slow to handle the work, you are literally leaking your life's energy. Build a rig that matches your ambition. Stop waiting for the bus. The data is already here.